What's up, party people, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be another one brand review, and today we are featuring Rimmel, and they've sent me a bunch of PR lately, so pretty much every single thing I'm putting in this video is something they've sent me, but I'm in no way, shape, or form paid or sponsored anything by Rimmel. These are just my opinions, honest. You guys know how we keep it real on here. I am going to create a spring look, so this is going to be one of my first spring makeup looks, unless this video doesn't go out for like another 5 months, then it's not going to be relevant anymore, but I tend to do that. So before we get started, make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you like one brand reviews and you want to see more like them. And also go ahead and subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell to always be notified of my videos so that you never miss a beat. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So for eyes, I'm going to be trying out the Magnifies Rainbow Edition eyeshadow palette. This is between $6 and $8 at the drugstore. You can find it at Walmart's, Target, CVS, places like that. And I think I'm actually going to pull into a Colourpop Super Shock eyeshadow just because I was going through my collection the other day and like cleaning everything out and like spring cleaning. And there were so many that I haven't even touched. I pulled out several that would be really pretty for a spring look. So I pulled out this one in the shade Bubbly, which is just a very sparkly, like a silvery sparkle pink. I don't have an eye primer from Rimmel, so I'm just going to use my Flower In Your Prime Ultimate Eye Primer. So let's just do a few little swatches. They seem very dry, and I have seen a couple of reviews. Sabrina actually reviewed several of these palettes, and she was saying that the formulations were very inconsistent. She said, you know, one palette would be really good, another palette would suck, and I think this is one that may not be all that great. The pigmentation is definitely very sheer, which it could be a good thing with these kind of colors, especially for me, because I like to kind of build my way up. It still kind of shocks me that every single brand at the drugstore isn't phenomenal because like there's so much competition now, especially with like online stores and stuff. Yeah, even the shimmers aren't a pretty shimmer. Like they're almost like a satin, like a very cheap satin. Yeah, I mean, those are sloppy obviously, but I'm not very impressed with that. Since I have some swatches on my hand, I feel like that would be a good segue into another product. This is the Just Let It Go Gentle Eye Makeup Remover. And don't be fooled by the amount that I've used in here. This is one of the worst eye makeup removers or makeup removers in general that I've ever tried. Number one, it's not gentle at all. It burns my eye area so bad. So I actually started using it just to clean up fallout. And it, like, not even being on my actual eye, just being like around it, burns my eye. Not only that, but it's not even good at taking off makeup. You're gonna have to scrub and pull and tug to get anything off. You're gonna have to go over the same spot like 20 times. Like you would use up an entire bag of cotton rounds, but let's just see. Okay, it is coming off pretty easily with these, but I promise you, even with fallout on my face, like it smears everything around, especially if it's a dark eyeshadow, it smears everything around first. And then after like the second or third cotton round, it starts removing it. So yeah, I don't recommend this stuff at all. This is only a few dollars, but bypass it. I'm gonna start off with this matte peachy shade. It looks really pretty. It is showing up, but it's extremely sheer. I would definitely recommend using an eye primer that conceals your eyes just so you're, I don't know, starting with a clean slate, just because I can see through the eyeshadow. We're off to a great start. So I'm gonna go into this matte pink right next to that peach that we just used. So, what? Okay, this is barely showing up. It is actually showing up more of like a lavender. So I found that the best way to get the most pigmentation from these is to literally just pat it in and not even really blend it out. I'm gonna go back in with my brush later on and just kind of blend the edges. But as you can see from side to side, like this is the side that I patted it on. Huge difference. So I'm gonna go back in on the other side. And you don't understand, like when I'm getting product, I'm literally like digging it into the pan and trying to get up as much as possible. I'm gonna go into this second to last purple right here. It's a little bit more of like a pinky iridescent. I don't think this is gonna work out very well. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Yep, pretty disappointing. Let's go into that purple right next to it at the very end right here. It has more like a blue undertone iridescence to it. Yep, whole lot of nothing. Oh my god, this is so bad. Okay, this is disgusting. I'm just gonna go ahead and put Bubbly from Colourpop all over my lid. There's not really a super pretty eyelid shade in here. I mean, I could be different and put like this lime green on my eyelid, or I don't know. Let's just pat this all over the eyelid from the inner corner to about the center to meet up with the ugly purples. Something else I want to talk about real quick that I'm not actually going to be applying is this Lash Accelerator Growth Serum. So this is for your lashes, your brows, whatever you want to grow. And they actually sent this to me over a month and a half or so ago, which was a perfect time for me because I had this little bald spot in the inner portion of my brow that would not grow back. So I was testing it and trying to grow it back with this stuff. And I used it for several weeks and this just doesn't do anything for me. It did absolutely nothing. I actually started using Jamaican black castor oil and that started growing it back. So that's how I know that this one didn't do anything. I mean, how good is it going to be? Just, you know, it's like a $4 or $5 product. So it's not going to be like lash food or what's that stuff called that people use? Lash food, lash boost, whatever. So yeah, I don't recommend this one either. So I have these Wonder Swap 2-in-1 liner to shadows. These are between $6 and $8 depending on where you find it at the drugstore. And I'm not really sure what these shades are because for some reason they're not on the tube at all. I do have the packaging for a couple of them, but that doesn't help me with the other ones I don't have the packaging to. So I don't really know which one I would use today. I might just use a purple. I might use teal. I don't know. We're just gonna make this another smorgasbord of colors, but these are basically supposed to, you can use these as eyeliners or you can use them as cream liquid eyeshadows. They do set down pretty well, so they do stay put. So it's not your typical like eyeshadow applicator. It definitely does lean more on the eyeliner side, but you could use this for like cutting out your crease. I've seen a lot of people do that with glitters and eyeliners and stuff like that. So you could kind of cut out the crease, like the socket a little bit. You can use this as eyeliner. You could use it for like your inner corner. So we don't know what these shades are, but I'm going to use one that's more purple. So there's what the packaging looks like. And I'm just going to use this like I would any other liquid liner. Right off the bat, very, very easy to apply as liner. The applicator is pretty perfect on it. And I'm someone that has to kind of hold my eye taut on the outside there to keep it, you know, flattened. But with this, I don't really feel the need to do that. So I think that says a lot. So I really like that felt tip applicator on this. So I do have two different mascaras and I have one that's waterproof, which I don't typically use waterproof mascaras, but I may just do it today just on one side. I do have this Scandalize Wow Wings and this is between like $5 and $7 at the drugstore. The one kind of reminds me of the L'Oreal Butterfly Sculpt, which is one of my favorites. This one's just chunkier and thicker. On this side, I'm gonna do the Wow Wings, and when you first pull it out, it's pretty gaumy. Like it's very, like there's just a lot of product on here. I feel like everything looks so much better on camera. I don't know why, but it looks more perfected sometimes. But I'm getting like no volume out of this. This is nothing but separation. It's not giving a very full effect. And also it's kind of pulling the curl out of them. So I think this time I'm gonna let the first layer dry and then go back in and apply a second layer. Some mascaras perform better when you let the first layer dry. So moving on to the next mascara. This is the Scandalize Volume Flash Waterproof Mascara. This is also between like $4 and $6 at the drugstore. So I just feel like Rimmel is just kind of in the stone age with their mascaras. Like their wands are so basic. Like they don't really do anything different. So we're gonna go ahead and apply one layer of this one as well. I'm not gonna go ahead and tell you right now. It's just too thick for my lashes. I just don't really feel like they really define every single lash the way I like. And it does have a pretty strong smell. Okay, here's one full layer, and there's nothing dangerously bold about this mascara. It's a very, very natural mascara, so I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and say if you don't like a lot of volume or length, don't know who doesn't, but if you just like a very natural, subtle mascara that just barely emphasizes your lashes, and I don't mean that in a condescending way, this may be okay for you, but I'm getting no volume, no length, no thickness, no fullness. My lashes look so puny. So I'm gonna go back in with the purple mascara, the Wings one, and try this again. Okay, so I've tried to comb out the clumps, and I don't know if you can see from this far away. I'll zoom in just a second, but this is just one big clump. It's clumping at the root. I mean, it's making the root look really dark, so I guess that's a positive, but it's just not giving enough balance all through the entire lash. I can actually feel the wetness on my lashes, and I hate mascaras like that because it makes you afraid to blink. So yeah, very, very slow drying mascaras. I'm gonna go into the other waterproof mascara now and try to build up this little puny side. So I went in with 3 layers of this mascara, and this is where she at. It literally does nothing for me. But I actually don't have any brow products, so I'm just gonna do a little ditty later on off camera. So moving on to the face. So I do have one of their primers. This is the Stay Matte Primer. So it says ultra lightweight formula that minimizes the appearance of pores, controls shine for up to 8 hours, creating a soft, perfectly matte complexion, and it won't feel heavy or greasy. It's just a white, lotiony kind of consistency. It just looks like a moisturizer. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this. And I do have oily, normal skin. I do get oily in the T-zone. Everywhere else I'm pretty balanced for the most part. So already it is kind of making this side look more smooth and more like filtered. It may be filling in the pores just a tad bit just because it's more of like a soft velvety finish, but it's not actually filling in the pores. It's just because of the finish that it gives. But it did diminish a lot of the shine right off the bat. So moving on to foundation. So I do have their Stay Matte Liquid Mousse Foundation. I used to love this stuff back before YouTube. However, I could never find a perfect match. They all ran very, very cool tone, very pinky and peachy, and I couldn't find a good match with it. And it also didn't wear the best. I kind of remember it wearing for like a good 6 hours and then it started to fade. But I love the coverage that I got from it, and I love the way, like, the effect that it gave on my skin. So they did expand their shade range, and they actually do have 24 shades now, which is mediocre. Like, it's okay for the drugstore as far as number goes. It does not go very dark. There's only like 3 or 4 darker shades, and it doesn't go very light either. This is not a very inclusive foundation range. So I still don't have a 100% perfect match. I do go between a couple of them. The one that I've been using is in the shade True Ivory. So this is not like me at all, but the way that I like to apply these is with my fingers. I like to completely smear it out and start the blending process with my hands. I feel like it really meshes better with the warmth of your fingers more so than a brush or a sponge. And then once I have it completely laid down and almost blended, it almost blends itself, I like to go in with a sponge and just kind of press it in and just kind of absorb extra product. And that brings me to this little guy, which is their sponge. And this thing is amazing. I have dampened it so it has inflated and whatnot, but I can't find this anywhere online. I can't even find it on their Rimmel website. I don't know if this was just like a gift, like a party favor almost. It's so soft and squishy and super high quality. I compare this to the Beauty Blender. Yeah, I hope that Rimmel makes this known to the public and starts selling this, because this thing is bomb. By the way, my lashes still feel somewhat wet. I don't recommend those mascaras to anyone. And you'll see, like, it doesn't even leave streaks. Like, a lot of times, like, one of the biggest reasons I don't use my fingers is because I don't feel like it really melts everything in. I always get fingerprint marks left behind. I've never been able to use my fingers as a tool. But with this foundation, it just works so much better. It doesn't spread as well. I mean, it's spreading really well and it's blending out really nicely still, but it doesn't spread as well as it does with other primers. I feel like this primer really does mattify everything. So now I'm gonna go in with my damp sponge and just kind of press everything in. It's definitely oxidizing, and it's definitely sparking up some memories of like remembering that it did oxidize when I used it a long time ago. So when in doubt, go a little bit lighter with this foundation. And I'm never someone that skips out on powder, but believe it or not, I actually like this foundation better without powdering it. It sets to such a pretty airbrushed, soft, moussey finish. Like, it looks like a very, very nice, natural, soft matte finish. And this is definitely full coverage. This will cover up so much. So moving on to concealer. So they did come out with a new one. This is the Stay Matte Soft Matte Concealer. This is around $4 or $5 at the drugstore, and they have 20 shades, and I have all 20 of them. That's a pretty good shade selection as far as the number goes. However, they don't go super light or super dark. So I did a little ditty before I sat down to film, and I categorized them into 3 different categories: light, medium, and dark. And the reason I did it the way I did is because these all pretty much look the same. So all the light ones look the same, the medium ones all look the same, and the dark ones look the same. So here are all the light ones, and then here are my 2. I'm kind of keeping them separate. I have vanilla and porcelain. These are the ones I use. But all of these look pretty much identical. So there's very little variation between them. Then here is what I call the medium group. Literally the exact same kind of color. And then here is the little pitiful dark category. And this is just sad. So yeah, very disappointing. So it says supposed to last all day. It's creamy and long wearing, sweat proof, heat proof, humidity proof, leaves your skin shine free for 24 hours, matches 99% of US skin tones. So I will say I don't really like this concealer as far as the coverage goes, but as far as the wear, it does wear pretty well. And the other day I tested both, like the foundation and the concealer, without powder. I was pretty shocked to see that this didn't crease at all, and it held up pretty well. So it has your typical like old-fashioned, I'm calling this old-fashioned doe foot applicator. And I don't like the applicator because I feel like it really soaks up a lot of the product. Like it just kind of like smears it around instead of applying a good layer. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this under my eyes. I don't get super full coverage out of it. I would say this is like a high light or low medium coverage. But I will say maybe it's the primer as well, but I feel like the concealer is adhering a little bit better. I mean, I still wouldn't call it full coverage, but I feel like it's not being sheared out as much, and I feel like it's a lot lighter than it usually is. Let's try to build this up a little bit, but I think I'm going to use a darker concealer just to kind of balance it a little bit. I'm going to go in with Vanilla, which is a little bit more yellow, more like my skin tone. There's a concealer. It's not the worst. All around, the face looks pretty dang good. So moving on to some setting powder. So this is Old Faithful to a lot of people. This is the Stay Matte powder, and I tried it a long time ago, and I honestly wasn't the biggest fan of this, but people love this thing. So I have the transparent one, and then I have the shade Sandstorm, which is more like a skin tone kind of shade. They did come out with more skin tone, like skin matching shades. So I also have the shade Toffee and then Deep Beige. I may try to use these as bronzer, but I just don't really feel like this does anything. If you're someone that likes to blot throughout the day, that might be why people like this so much. I put my makeup on one time. I do not touch up throughout the day. So like when I use this, when I initially put my makeup on, like I can still get shiny throughout the day. So it doesn't completely minimize shine. So I'm not really sure what the big hype is about. And this is kind of a dry powder in my opinion. Like it's not soft and buttery or anything. Like even when I put it on my hand, it's just sticking to the hair and the texture, and it's emphasizing the lines and stuff in my hand. So that's not a very good indicator of what it's doing to your face. But I'm just going to use this to set my T-zone. So here's what Sandstorm looks like. It's not a lot of color. I could see this being something that would work for probably a lot of people because it's not a lot of color. I really don't want to set back here just because I feel like when you do set this foundation, the finish just doesn't look as good. I feel like it gets masked. Yeah, this definitely leans more on the translucent side. So let's test the darker shades as bronzer. So I'm gonna go in with the shade 16 Deep Beige. This is actually not that bad as a bronzer. That wasn't my initial intention. I was just gonna skip out on cheap products and stuff like that and just in the video, but this is working out pretty well as a bronzer. It is very matte. It does have that very, very dry texture to it. So yeah, if you're the least little bit dry, it could be too mattifying because it is a mattifying powder. I would definitely like to keep using these as bronzers though. And then these Lip Art graphic liner and liquid lipsticks. So let's talk about these first. So these are about $7 or $8 at the drugstore, and they do have 9 shades. They don't really have any nudes or anything. Like these are more artsy, bolder looks or bolder colors. This one's in the shade Tag Me. So this is a teal, but here's what the applicator looks like. So you're supposed to be able to outline your lips first and then fill it in. This seems like they all seem pretty sheer. Now I haven't tried these yet. And then I have Masterpiece, which looks like just a straight up purple. So there's what that one looks like. Again, very springy, very artsy. I do have a couple of reds. This one's in the shade Hotspot. This one is more of like a corally orange red. Very, very pretty. I do want to create a look with this, like the eye looks centered around that kind of color. And then I have the shade Go Hard. This one is a lot more orange than Hotspot. Hotspot looks more like a watermelon red compared to this one. So yeah, very vivid. So I do want to apply each of these to my lips just to see how full coverage they are once they're actually on, because sometimes swatches can be deceiving and you're applying a different pressure. So let's just make this video 13 hours long. So let's first go into Go Hard, which is that orangey red, and this isn't going to match at all. I'm literally just trying to see what it looks like once it's on. That's actually really, really pretty. Like it's almost blinding in the camera, and it's actually pretty even and pretty full coverage. And I did like the applicator. It is pretty flexible though, so you have to be careful because I could see this going wrong really fast, like if you're not careful with outlining. But I mean, the tip of it is pretty good for outlining and, you know, kind of drawing in your lips, but fills in really nicely. It actually has almost like a slight tingle to it, but not like a plumping gloss. It's kind of weird, but it's a really, really pretty velvety, soft, matte finish, but it feels really comfortable so far. So let's just go into Hotspot now, which is that watermelon red. Wow, like I am really digging these colors. I didn't think I would. Like I'm never into this kind of red or that kind of orangey red, but I really want to focused tutorials around these colors. Like, I feel like this is so different. So now going into the purple one in the shade Masterpiece. Okay, so this one's just a tad bit more patchy, but you can layer it and cover up the unevenness. But this is a pretty cool shade as well. Definitely not something that I see myself using a whole lot, but yeah, that one is Masterpiece. I'm gonna apply some lip balm underneath because it seems to just feel a bit better when it has some lip balm underneath. So I'm gonna do something crazy. So I'm gonna go into Tag Me, which is that teal blue, and wish me luck. Okay, so I'm finding that it's definitely not as even once I have lip balm underneath. So maybe I just applied too much because it just wanted to keep slipping and sliding around. But the first time I didn't do that. So yeah, I'm gonna be a little brave. I feel like an old person trying to be young and cool and hip. Like, it just isn't me, but I'm trying to be different and just have fun with it. But yeah, we're gonna try this because I'm gonna do this bright neon blue under the lash line, so we shall see. I'm just gonna smudge this along the lower lash line. Ooh, this is a perfect match for that lip color. Dang. So that color combination is actually really cool. I really like that blue. That one applied so much better than the other ones. It's definitely more pigmented, but I'm just not liking these eyeshadows. I'm not even gonna put mascara on the lower lash line. But moving on to the last product. This is a setting spray, but this is the Stay Matte Fix and Go setting spray. It says a 2-in-1 primer and setting spray that locks makeup into place. It's prolonging and enhances the wear of makeup with just one application. It's a very direct spray mist, so it doesn't, like, it's just not very high quality. But let's just go ahead and spray this all over. And ooh, it has a very strong cucumber scent. Ooh, I don't like that at all. But my face is looking pretty dang dry and matte right now. Like I said, that primer is really affecting the overall finish of the foundation because, like I said, I usually use it with the glowy primer. So let's see if this really makes a difference. So let's just do one side right now. Very heavily fragranced. I don't like that at all. And ooh, when it gets in your mouth, it tastes like hairspray. Ugh. Not a whole lot of luminosity that was added to it, but it is supposed to be a mattifying setting spray, so it's not gonna do a whole lot in that field. Yeah, I will keep you guys updated on this. Hopefully I have an update for you in the description box. So yeah, that is it for this one brand review. I don't know how long this video is gonna be once it's actually edited, but this has been 3 or 4 hours in the making. It's been a long one. So yeah, sorry for not finishing the eye look and stuff. I just kind of gave up on it just because the lashes on it, it's a lashes. Like, I could have continued with the eye makeup as far as the eyeshadows go and tried to work around it, but the mascara is horrible. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you want to see more videos like this, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in my next one.